for you, like, is obviously stand up is, keep leveling up, doing bigger venues, doing more tickets. You talked about the podcast. I think that, like, back in the day, the next, like, thing would be, let me be on TV, let me do a movie, let me write a TV series. Obviously, that's kind of not necessarily been the barometer of what makes someone successful in comedy anymore. But do you have any other goals outside of, what you're doing or the podcast launching?
Man, I would like to write, like, a show or a movie. I don't think that type of writing is my strong suit.
Right.
But for the last, like, year and a half, I've been trying to just try it. Like, just
like ideas.
Ideas. When I have time, I'm like, let me just...
Like, if you have a premise for a TV show, okay, if I got the premise, now what? Like, how do I write a pilot?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but I love stand-up so much. I'm, like obsessed with it. Like, this is what I eat, sleep, shit, breathe. Like, so I'm never in my head with too many goals. Before I was, but they were just stand-up goals. Before it was like, all right, I want to get on the Tonight Show. I want to get on Comedy Central.
Right.
I want to do this festival. It was all like stand-up related goals.
Right.
And my only plan of attack was like, well, hone my stand-up, be on stage, write more jokes, be on stage, like just write and be on stage, like. And I think now that I've knocked out a lot of the bigger goals, like do Moon Tower, I did the Tonight Show, right. I got a special. Now my goals are just keep doing stand-up, like just
right.
keep doing stand-up, man. I like hearing the stories about how back in the day the ancient samurai used to make their swords, how it'd be like fucking hard as hell and they're just pounding the steel and all that. And I feel like that's all stand-up is. Every joke is like another sword, like you just work out that joke. So I feel like that's always going to be my number one and main goal. It's just
be one of the GOATs.
Yeah, I mean, if it happens, it happens. But no matter what, man, I'm always... It's like basketball. Whether I make it to NBA or not, like, I'm always enjoying a ball in the hoop.
Yo, is the hardest thing... Because, man, there's something about doing stand-up that to me is so frightening. And that is just like... I can only imagine, like, when you first started, was doing your first open mic or just getting on that stage and, like, trying some shit, not knowing if it was going to work. Was that, like, how scary is that? Like, when you first decide, I'm going to go and do a minute or 2 minutes, or... Because to me, like, man, that I can't think of nothing scarier. Because me and my boy James always talk about, like, yeah, we should go do an open mic because I got jokes, ideas and shit. I'm like, man, fuck that, dog. Like, that shit sounds... frightening.
I just stopped thinking about it because I signed up for a few open mics and didn't show up because
you overthought it.
I overthought it,
yeah.
And then one night, the sign up was like at 5 p.m. was when the list went out for you to sign up. The open mic, the show actually started at 7 p.m. and there's like every comic in the city of Dallas was at that mic, which was like 100 fucking comedians.
Right.
And, it's like anything else. You start at the bottom. Nobody knows who you are, nothing.
Did you get laughs your first time?
Nah, bro. I went up like at 1 in the morning, 1:30, and it was just me, the host of the mic, one of my buddies who had went with me, who was just knocked out. He was just asleep.
I'm tired, bro.
And then like 2 other open micers who were on after me. They were the last 2.
You were just telling jokes for other open micers at that point.
Bro, they were yelling at me. Yeah. They were like, they were ready to go home too. They were drunk.
Like, hurry the fuck up.
Yeah, they were like, shut the fuck up, bro. Get the fuck off already. And so I was supposed to do 3 minutes. I did like a minute and a half, and I was just like, it's my time. And I just like walked out, like just pussied out. Like,
right.
I was so afraid.
I ain't even finishing.
Yeah, and I just walked out. And I remember not even being nervous. I was like, I feel good. Was
it like ripping a Band-Aid off that first time? Like, all right, I got on stage. Now,
I don't know, maybe. I just remember not being nervous at all. And then I got on the stage, and the lights hit me. And all the nerves just flooded me. And I almost blanked out. And then I just started talking. And it wasn't funny at all. I didn't go back for like weeks.
Damn.
And I was just like, bro, why did I think I could do that? Like, it's not for me.
Right.
But it was like an obsession. Like, I just kept thinking about like, well, maybe if I would have said this different. Maybe if I would have said that different. And I'd be at work just thinking of like a joke that I could. And then eventually, like, it might have been more than a month before the next time I went up, actually. Then I went up, and it went bad, but like a little less bad. And again, I was just like, this is not for me. And like months would go by, and then I did it again, and then it went like less bad again, and so on and so on.
Every time it got better and better. Yeah.
Yeah.
Were you telling the same joke each time?
No. I would try to work something out until finally the first time I got like laughs, like actual laughs. At that time, it felt like the whole room just gave me an applause break. But when I listened to the recording like a year later, it was just like chuckles. But if it was the first time getting chuckles, I was like, oh shit! Like,
what was the joke? Or the premise, at least.
I talked about the first time I ever got laughs was actually kind of crowd work. I went on stage because there's this one open mic I did. It was kind of like in an uppity part of Dallas, and it was like an all white crowd and very like polos and slacks and stuff.
Right.
And I was really scared. I didn't think it would be funny to say this. I was just really scared, and I walked on stage, and this dude was just staring at me like, because he's supposed to, right? But
right, he's like, yeah, he's right there.
He's right there, and I was like, yo, this dude looks like he called the cops on me, and they just laughed, and I was just like, oh shit. And the first actual joke I told though was at that time I was working construction. And it was like electrical, like industrial electricity or whatever. And I talked about working with my uncle, and it was something like things my uncle said at work were things that no electrician or uncle should ever say. It was like, I think this is where the red wire goes.
I think
lock the door, pull your pants down, like shit like that. And so it would like sometimes get a laugh. Sometimes people just go like, oh, like. But that was like my first like good enough joke, like it worked. And so they would give me 3 minutes on stage. I would do like 2 minutes of like chuckles, and then my last minute I would just bomb and like.
Yeah.
But yeah, those were the first couple laughs I ever got.
Who's been like some of the big homies for you in the comedy space that have like kind of like, you know, given you advice, put their arm around you, kind of embraced you early? And
shit, man, there's a lot. That's why I never understand why people are I made it on my own, or like. I don't know how other industries are, but in comedy, like, every comic is only there because of a million other comics who kind of helped you here and there. Like Dusty Slay, Dan Soder, Matthew Broussard, Felipe Esparza, Jerry Garcia, Angela Johnson. Like, that's just like a few. Taylor Williamson. Like, there's so many comics who would give me words of advice, would take me on road gigs,
right.
Like put in a good word for me here and there. Like there's just so many comics.
Have you ever dealt with anybody stealing any of your jokes?
Yeah, a couple times, but I don't think they were that great of a joke.
Like, you could have that one, bro.
Yeah, it was just like fuck it. And one thing that my buddy Wes told me like a long time ago. It was the first time I ever worked with like comics from out of town. I don't remember where they were from. I was like 8 months into comedy, and it was me and my buddy Wes, and there was like these two other people from I forgot where, and I just remember thinking like, hey, what if we did jokes tonight and these guys go back to their town and they do our jokes, you know? And he was just like, then they stole our jokes, like fuck it. And he's like, but if somebody has to steal jokes, they probably suck ass at comedy anyway. He's like, and they'll eventually burn out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they don't have a bright future if they're stealing jokes.
Yeah, so like, but if you wrote a good joke worth stealing, well, you probably got the ability to write another one.
Yeah, there's more where that came from.
Yeah, so fuck it. You know what I mean? They stole your crops, grow more vegetables.